Do not catch feelings. This is just a deal. Nia Brooks said it without looking at him, her voice steady, almost cold, like she had practiced that sentence 100 times before. The music from inside the house spilled onto the front porch, loud bass shaking the wooden steps, people laughing, glasses clinking, someone calling her name from inside. She ignored all of it. Marcus Reed stood a few feet away, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a small box of pastries he had picked up on the way. He watched her carefully, like he was trying to read everything she was not saying. "You always this serious?" he asked. She finally turned to him, eyes sharp, lips pressed tight. "Only when I need to be. Tonight, I need you to remember exactly what this is. Nothing more." He nodded once, slow. 2 months. We show up together, act like we are together, make everybody believe it. And then we walk away, she cut in. Clean. No drama. A car pulled up across the street, headlights sweeping over them for a second. The light caught the tension in her face, the way her jaw tightened just a little too much. Marcus noticed. He noticed everything. "You trying to convince me or yourself?" he said quietly. Nia let out a short breath, almost a laugh, but not really. "Do not start with me, Marcus. I am not one of those women who fall for a smile and a nice suit." He looked down at himself, simple black shirt, clean sneakers. "I did not even wear a suit." "That is not the point," she snapped, then softened just enough to not draw attention from inside. "The point is, I do not do love. Not real love. Not anymore." A voice called from inside again. "Nia, girl, you coming in or what?" She glanced back at the door, then stepped closer to Marcus. Up close, he could see the faint scar near her eyebrow, the kind you only notice when you are really looking. Her perfume was light, something warm, something familiar. "You hold my hand," she said. "You smile. You act like you have been with me for a while. My family asks questions, you answer simple. No lies that we cannot remember later." He raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like you have done this before." Her eyes flickered for a second. "Just follow the script." She reached for his hand before he could respond. Her fingers were warm, firm, but there was a slight hesitation right before she fully held on, like part of her wanted to pull back. Marcus felt it. He did not say anything. He just tightened his grip slightly, enough for her to notice. "You nervous?" he asked. Nia shook her head, quick. "No, I just do not like wasting time." "Then why me?" he asked. That made her pause. For a second, the noise from inside faded. The night air felt heavier, like something real was about to slip out. She looked at him, really looked this time, like she was measuring something deeper than height or looks or confidence. "Because you look like the kind of man who knows how to pretend," she said. He smiled, slow, almost amused. "And what makes you think I am pretending?" She pulled her hand back for a split second, then grabbed it again tighter, like she caught herself slipping. "Everybody is pretending, Marcus. Some people just better at hiding it." The front door swung open, warm light spilling out onto them. "Come on," Nia said, forcing a small smile that did not reach her eyes. "Show time." She pulled him inside, hand in hand, like they belonged together, like it was real. Marcus followed, but his eyes stayed on her, because for some reason, it did not feel fake at all. The house was packed, heat rising from too many bodies in one space, the smell of fried food and sweet perfume hanging in the air. Music pulsed through the living room, a mix of old school and new, people swaying, laughing, watching. The moment Nia walked in, holding Marcus' hand, heads turned. "Girl, who is that?" someone whispered loud enough to be heard. Naya did not miss a step. She squeezed his hand once, a signal. Stay close. Marcus leaned in just enough. You did not say I would be part of a show. She smiled without looking at him. Just play your role. An older woman stepped forward, eyes sharp but warm. That must be him. Nia softened instantly. Auntie Rose, this is Marcus. Marcus gave a small nod. Yes, Mom. Nice to meet you. Auntie Rose looked him up and down. Not rude, just careful. You treat her right. Marcus did not hesitate. I plan to. Nia glanced at him, quick, surprised. That line had not been part of the script. They moved through the room together, introductions blending into one another. Cousins, friends, neighbors. Every time someone asked how long they had been together, Nia answered first. Couple months, she said. Marcus followed smoothly. Best couple months I have had in a while. Each answer landed a little too naturally. At some point, they ended up in the kitchen. The noise dropped just a little, replaced by the sound of running water and someone arguing about seasoning in the background. Nia leaned against the counter, finally letting go of his hand. You doing all right? She asked. Marcus grabbed a paper plate, loading it with food like he belonged there. I have been in tougher rooms than this. She watched him for a second. You always this comfortable around strangers? He shrugged. People are just people. She shook her head lightly. Not where I come from. Before he could ask, someone called her name again. She sighed. Stay here, she said. I will be right back. Marcus nodded and leaned against the counter, taking a bite of cornbread. He watched her move through the crowd, the way she smiled just enough, the way she dodged certain conversations. There was a pattern to it, like she knew exactly how to survive this room. When she came back, she looked different, shoulders tighter, smile gone. Family, he asked. She exhaled. They asked too many questions. He held out a small cup of sweet tea. Here. She took it, surprised again. Thanks. For a moment they stood there in silence. Not awkward, just quiet. Then someone bumped into Marcus from behind, spilling a bit of drink on his shirt. Man, my bad, the guy said. It is all good, Marcus replied, brushing it off. Nia reached for a napkin without thinking. Hold still. Her fingers pressed lightly against his chest as she dabbed the stain. The room around them faded for a second. Marcus looked down at her, closer now than before. He could see the small details, the way her lashes cast shadows on her cheeks, the way she bit her lip just slightly when she focused. You missed a spot, he said softly. She froze for half a second, then looked up. Their eyes met. Too long, too real. Then she stepped back quickly. You are fine, yeah, he said, still watching her. I am. Later that night, they stepped outside for air. The Texas heat had settled into a warm breeze, streetlights casting soft gold across the sidewalk. The noise from inside was muffled now. Nia sat on the steps, kicking off her heels. My feet are done. Marcus sat beside her, leaving just enough space. You play this role well. She glanced at him sideways. You do too. He leaned back on his hands. I meant what I said in there. About what? About treating you right. She looked away, staring down the street. That is not part of the deal. Maybe the deal needs better rules, he said. She let out a small laugh, but it was tired. That is how people get hurt. You sound like you have been there. She nodded once. I have. Marcus studied her, not pushing, just listening. Then why even do this? He asked quietly. She took a long breath, the kind that carried more than just air. Because sometimes pretending is easier than being alone. He did not answer right away. Instead, he shifted closer, just an inch, enough for her to feel it. "For a deal," he said. "This feels a little too real." Nia did not move away. That was the problem. The next morning came quieter than the night before, but something had shifted. Nia opened her shop early, the soft buzz of nail drills and low music filling the space. Sunlight came through the front glass, warming the chairs lined in a row. She tied her apron tighter than usual, trying to focus on work. The door chimed. She did not look up right away. "Morning," she said. Marcus' voice came from the entrance. "You always start this early." She froze for a second, then looked up. "You do not have to come here." He stepped in, holding 2 cups. "I know. I wanted to." He walked over and set one on her station. "Sweet tea. No ice like last night." She stared at it, then at him. "You remembered that." He shrugged. "I pay attention." For a moment, neither spoke. The air felt different, less like a deal, more like something neither of them had named yet. "You got clients coming?" he asked. "In an hour," she said. "Why?" He leaned against the wall, casual. "Thought maybe I could help you open." She let out a small laugh. "You do not look like you ever opened a nail shop." He smiled. First time for everything. And just like that, he stayed. He swept the floor, slow at first, then better. He helped carry boxes from the back, asked questions he did not need to ask. Nia watched him more than she wanted to admit. At one point, he reached for a bottle on the top shelf, about 2 feet above her head. She stepped closer to grab it at the same time. Their hands brushed. Both paused. "You got it," he said softly. She did not pull away right away. Neither did he. Then she cleared her throat and stepped back. "Thanks." Later that afternoon, after her last client left, the shop fell quiet again. Marcus was still there, sitting in one of the chairs, scrolling through his phone but not really reading anything. "You still here?" she asked. He looked up. "You trying to kick me out?" "Maybe." He stood up, stretching. "Come on." "Come on where?" "Food. You worked all day." She hesitated. This was not part of the deal. He saw it in her face. "It is just food, Nia." She grabbed her bag. "Just food." They drove a few blocks down, windows halfway open, warm Texas air moving through the car. The radio played something soft, old school, familiar. At a small spot with outdoor tables, they sat across from each other, paper menus barely touched. "You always this quiet?" he asked. "Only when I am thinking." "About what?" She looked at him for a long second. "About how this is supposed to end." He leaned forward slightly. "You always thinking about the end. Someone has to." He shook his head. "Or maybe you just do not let yourself enjoy the middle." She did not answer. When the food came, they ate, talked, laughed. Real laughs this time. Not for show, not for anyone else. Just them. At some point, he told her about his first deal, how he almost lost everything before he made it. She listened, really listened, elbows on the table, chin resting on her hand. "You ever slow down?" she asked. He smiled, but it did not fully reach his eyes. "I am trying to." That was the first crack. Later that night, he walked her back to her car. The street was quiet, lights glowing soft, a warm breeze moving through. "You did not have to stay all day," she said. "I know." "Then why did you?" He stepped closer, not too fast, not too slow. "Because I wanted to." She felt it again, that pull, stronger now. "This is how it starts," she said quietly. "How what starts? When things stop being fake." He did not deny it. Instead, he reached for her hand, slower this time, giving her space to pull away. She did not. their fingers laced together, natural, like it had always been that way. Nia looked at their hands, then up at him. This was not part of the deal. Marcus' voice was low. Maybe the deal changed. For a moment, the world felt still. Then she stepped closer, closing the space between them. He leaned in just enough. The kiss was soft, brief, almost careful, like both of them were afraid to break something fragile. When they pulled back, neither spoke. Nia breathed out slowly. This is a mistake. Marcus looked at her, steady. Does it feel like one? She did not answer, because it did not. But in the back of her mind, something whispered. This was exactly how people got hurt. The kiss stayed with her longer than she expected. It followed Nia into the next morning, into her shop, into every quiet second when she thought she could ignore it. She moved through her day like nothing had changed, but everything had. Marcus texted once, "You good?" She stared at the message for a full minute before replying, "I am fine." She was not. That night, he showed up again. Not planned, not part of the deal. "You busy?" he asked from the doorway. She did not look up right away. Always. He stepped inside anyway. "You been avoiding me." She finally met his eyes. "I have been working. That is not what I asked." The tension sat between them, thick and uncomfortable. The kind that only shows up when something real is on the line. "You said this was a mistake," he continued. She wiped her hands slowly, buying time. It was. He shook his head, stepping closer. It did not feel like one. "That is the problem," she said quietly. Before he could respond, the door chimed again. A woman walked in, tall, polished, heels clicking sharp against the floor. Her presence filled the room in a way that made everything else feel smaller. Marcus turned. The shift in his body was subtle, but Nia caught it. Cassandra. The name landed before the introduction. The woman smiled, smooth, practiced. "Marcus, you were not answering your phone." Nia stood still behind her station, watching. Marcus cleared his throat. "I have been busy." Cassandra's eyes moved to Nia, scanning, measuring. "And you are." Nia did not flinch. "Nia," Cassandra's smile stayed, but it was colder now. "I have heard about you." Something in Marcus' face tightened. "That is not necessary." But it was already happening. Cassandra crossed her arms. "We have a meeting in the morning, remember? The contract your image is tied to." Nia felt her chest tighten. Image. Marcus stepped forward slightly. "I will be there." "You better be," Cassandra said, her tone light but firm. "People are expecting consistency." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Oh, and Marcus, next time you decide to play house, make sure it does not interfere with business." The door closed behind her. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Nia let out a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. "So this is what this is." Marcus ran a hand through his hair. "It is not like that." She stepped out from behind the counter, walking toward him slowly. "No, tell me exactly what it is like." He hesitated. That was all she needed. "You using me?" she said, her voice sharper now. "This whole thing, it is for your deal?" "No," he said quickly. "It started like that, yeah, but it is not that anymore." She shook her head, stepping back. "That is exactly what I said it would be." "You think I am still pretending?" he asked. "Aren't you?" she shot back. "You got a whole woman out here talking about contracts and image, and I am supposed to believe this is real." Marcus stepped closer, frustration building. "I told you from the start I needed this for work. You did not tell me there was someone else involved like that," she said, her voice rising. "You let me walk into this blind." "There is nothing between me and her," he insisted. Then why's she talking like she owns your future? Naya fired back. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Another pause, another crack. Nia nodded slowly, like something inside her was finally clicking into place. You know what? This makes sense now. What does? Why are you so good at this? She said. The acting, the smiles, the way you make everything feel real. Marcus' eyes darkened. That is not fair. Fair, she repeated. You want to talk about fair? You pulled me into something I said I did not want, and now you standing here telling me it changed. It did change, he said, louder now. At least for me. She looked at him. Really looked this time. And that scared her more than anything, because part of her believed him. That is your problem, Marcus, she said softly. You start believing your own story. He took a step forward, and you never let yourself believe anything at all. That hit. She swallowed, but did not back down. That is how I protect myself. By pushing me away, he asked. By not being stupid, she replied. The words hung in the air, heavier than she expected. Marcus nodded slowly. So that is what this is now. Me being stupid for feeling something real. She did not answer, because she did not know how to. He looked at her for a long second, then stepped back. You right, Nia. This started as a deal. He grabbed his keys from the counter. I should have kept it that way. The door opened, then closed. And just like that, the room felt empty. Nia stood there, hands still, heart racing, the echo of everything unsaid pressing down on her chest. For the first time, it felt like she might actually lose him, and she did not know if she was ready for that. Hi, friend. Before we continue, I need your help. We have noticed the channel losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It is quick, free, and helps us keep delivering great content for you. Your support means everything. Comment your city or country below. Let us see how far this community reaches. Thank you. Now, back to the story. The shop felt too quiet after he left. Nia stood in the same spot for a long time, staring at the door like it might open again. It did not. The hum of the lights overhead filled the silence, low and constant. She moved slowly, cleaning up tools that were already clean, wiping down surfaces that did not need it. Her hands kept moving, but her mind stayed stuck on the way he looked at her before he walked out, like he meant every word. That was what made it worse. Her phone buzzed once on the counter. She glanced at it, then looked away. She did not need to see the name to know it was him. It buzzed again. She picked it up this time, thumb hovering over the screen. You good? Same words as before, but they felt different now, heavier. She started typing. I am fine. She stared at it for a few seconds, then deleted the whole thing. The phone went dark in her hand. Across town, Marcus sat in his car, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel. The street outside his apartment was empty, streetlight flickering above the hood. He looked at his phone again. No reply. He leaned his head back against the seat, closing his eyes. For a moment, all he could see was her standing there, arms crossed, eyes guarded, but something underneath it breaking. He exhaled slow. You should have kept it simple, he muttered to himself. That was the deal. But nothing about her had felt simple. He unlocked his phone again, opened their messages, scrolled up. It was not much. Short texts, times, places, little jokes that had started to mean more than they should have. He typed something this time. I meant what I said. He stared at it, then locked the phone without sending it. Back at the shop, Nia finally turned the lights off, The room fell into shadow, the reflection of the street glowing faint in the glass. She stepped outside, locking the door behind her, the click louder than usual. The night air was warm, but it did not feel comforting. She walked to her car, then stopped. For a second, she thought she saw him leaning against it like before, but it was just empty space. She let out a quiet breath and got in. The drive home felt longer than it was. Every red light stretched out. Every turn felt slower. The radio played, but she did not hear it. At a stoplight, she glanced at the passenger seat. She remembered him sitting there, laughing, talking about nothing and everything at the same time. She looked away quickly. When she got home, she dropped her keys on the counter and kicked off her shoes, the same way she had done the night before. But this time, there was no one to fill the silence. She walked into her room and sat on the edge of the bed. Her phone buzzed again. She picked it up faster this time. Missed call. No message. She stared at the screen, heart beating harder than it should. Call him back, a part of her whispered. Do not, another part answered. She placed the phone face down beside her. Minutes passed. Then more. Finally, she reached for it again, unlocked it, and opened his contact. Her thumb hovered over the call button. Then she closed her eyes and locked the phone again. Across the city, Marcus sat on the edge of his couch, phone in his hand, staring at the same empty screen. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped tight. He remembered the way she looked at him when she laughed, the way she held his hand like it mattered, even when she said it did not. He rubbed his face slowly. This was supposed to be easy. In his kitchen, a half-finished plate of food sat untouched. The TV played something he was not watching. Everything felt off. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out over the city lights. For the first time in a long time, none of it meant anything. Back in her room, Nia finally lay down, staring at the ceiling. The memory of that kiss came back without warning. Soft, careful, real. She turned onto her side, pulling the blanket closer. This is what happens, she whispered to herself. This is why you do not let it go that far. But even as she said it, her chest ached, because for the first time in a long time, she had wanted something real. And now it was gone. Or maybe she had pushed it away before it had a chance to stay. Neither of them slept much that night, and neither of them knew if the silence between them was the end, or just the beginning of losing something they never meant to find. 3 days passed without a word. Nia kept moving like nothing had changed, but everything felt slower. The shop opened, clients came and went, the music played, but her focus slipped in quiet moments. On the 4th morning, Auntie Rose walked in early, holding a folder. You busy? She asked. Nia shook her head. Not yet. Auntie Rose set the folder on the counter. I ran into someone yesterday. Nia did not ask who, she already knew. That man, Marcus, Auntie Rose said, watching her closely. He was at the community center on the south side. Nia looked up. Doing what? Working. Auntie Rose opened the folder, sliding a few papers across. Renovation plans, permits, donation forms. He'd been putting money and time into that place for weeks now, she said. Quiet, too. No cameras, no press. Nia frowned. For what? For kids who got nowhere else to go, Auntie Rose replied. He told them he was stepping back from a big contract to focus on something real. The word hit, stepping back. Nia stared at the papers, her chest tightening. The timeline matched. It was the same contract Cassandra had mentioned. Why are you telling me this? She asked softly. Auntie Rose crossed her arms. Because you look like someone who about to lose something and act like it is nothing. Nia swallowed. Later that afternoon, she sat in her car outside the address on the paper. A small brick building, faded paint, kids running in and out, laughter mixing with the sound of a basketball hitting concrete. She saw him before he saw her. Marcus stood near the entrance, sleeves rolled up, talking to a group of teens. He was smiling, relaxed in a way she had not seen before. Not polished, not careful, just real. One of the kids said something that made him laugh, head tilted back, eyes closed for a second. Nia felt something shift inside her. This was not part of any deal. She stepped out of the car. Gravel crunched under her shoes as she walked closer. He turned at the sound. Their eyes met. Everything else faded. For a second, neither moved. Then Marcus took a slow step forward. Nia. Her voice was quieter than she expected. You quit the deal. He nodded once. Yeah, why? He held her gaze. Because I did not want to keep pretending with you. The honesty landed heavy. She looked down, then back up. You did not tell me. You did not give me the chance, he said gently. She flinched a little at that. Silence stretched between them, but it was different now. Not empty, just careful. You been coming here every day? She asked. Most days, he said. It helps me slow down. She glanced around at the kids, the worn court, the building that needed work. This matters to you. He nodded. It does now. Another step closer, not too much. Nia looked at him. Really looked this time. Not the man she thought she understood, but the one standing in front of her. You meant it, she said. About what? About it not being fake. He did not hesitate. I never faked how I felt about you. Her chest tightened. She took a small step forward, closing some of the distance. I said some things. You did, he replied, but his tone was softer now. I meant them, she added, then paused. Or at least I thought I did. He watched her, waiting. She let out a slow breath. I was scared. Of what? Of this, she said, gesturing lightly between them. Of it being real. Marcus nodded, understanding settling in. That makes two of us. They stood there, a few feet apart, the space smaller than before but not gone. One of the kids ran past, brushing Marcus' arm, breaking the moment for a second. Nia smiled faintly at that. You still working tomorrow? She asked. He nodded. Yeah. She hesitated, then spoke. Maybe I'd come by. I would like that, he said. She took a step back, not leaving yet, just creating space. This does not fix everything, she said. I know. She held his eyes for one more second, then turned toward her car. Marcus watched her go, something lighter in his chest. For the first time since she walked away, it did not feel like the end. It felt like a door had opened, just enough to step through, if they were both willing. The next day, she came back. Not dressed up, not guarded, just herself. Nia walked into the community center with her hair tied back, a simple shirt and jeans, the kind she wore when she did not want to impress anyone. Kids were running across the court, a ball bouncing loud against the floor, laughter filling the space. Marcus looked up from across the room. For a second, everything slowed. You made it, he said. She nodded, stepping closer. I said I would. He handed her a box of supplies. You mind helping? She took it without hesitation. Show me where. That was how it started again. Not with promises, not with big words, just small moments. Passing things back and forth, fixing what needed fixing, laughing when something went wrong. The kind of connection that did not need to be explained. Days turned into weeks. She came back again and again. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they did not. But the silence between them was no longer heavy. It was steady. One evening, after everyone left, the gym lights dimmed low. The court was empty, the air quieter than usual. Nia sat on the bleachers, legs stretched out, watching Marcus finish stacking chairs. "You different," she said. He looked over his shoulder. Good different or bad different? She smiled faintly. Real different. He walked over, wiping his hands on a towel. "I'm trying," she nodded. "I see that." A pause, then she spoke again, softer. "I am trying too." He sat beside her, close enough to feel her warmth, but not touching yet. "You still scared?" he asked. She laughed lightly. "Yeah, but I am not running this time." He let that settle in. After a moment, he reached for her hand, slow, giving her space like before. This time, she met him halfway, their fingers laced together, not careful, not hesitant, just sure. "I do not want to pretend anymore," she said. "Me neither," he replied. She turned toward him, eyes steady. "Then do not." He smiled, small but real. "I am not going anywhere." "Neither am I." The words felt different now. Not part of a deal. Not something they had to convince each other of. Just truth. A few months later, the community center looked new. Fresh paint, new lights, kids filling the space every afternoon. Laughter louder than ever. On a warm evening, with the sun dropping low outside, Marcus stood in the middle of the court. Nia walked in, confused. "What is this?" He looked a little nervous, something she had never seen before. "Just come here," he said. She stepped closer. He reached into his pocket, then stopped for a second, taking a breath. "I used to think I had to build everything first, then come back to what mattered," he said. "But I was wrong." Her eyes softened. He dropped to one knee. "Nia Brooks, I do not want another deal, another plan, another version of almost. I want you for real, for everything that comes with it. Will you marry me?" Her breath caught, eyes filling, a smile breaking through. "You really asking me this in a gym?" she teased softly. He laughed. "It is where we started being real." She shook her head, then nodded, tears falling anyway. "Yes, yes." He slipped the ring onto her finger, simple but perfect. When she pulled him up, wrapping her arms around him, the world felt right in a way neither of them expected. No pretending, no running. Just two people who almost lost something real and chose not to again. Later that night, sitting side by side on those same bleachers, Nia rested her head on his shoulder. "Funny how we started," she said. He smiled. "Yeah, we were acting." She looked up at him. "Turns out we were not." He kissed her forehead gently. "Some things never were." If this story touched you, if you ever loved and almost walked away from something real, do not forget to subscribe, drop where you are listening from in the comments, and share this with someone who needs to hear it, because sometimes love does not come back loud. It comes back quiet, and it is up to you not to miss it again.